Thank you. Welcome to the Whately Finance Committee meeting, Tuesday, January 20th at 5:07 p.m. We'll begin with the agenda. First to welcome Lynn Sibley to the committee. It's nice to see you and welcome aboard. We have quite a full cast tonight.
Thank you.
Our first agenda item is to discuss and vote on potential committee reorganization.
Do we want to wait until Paul comes back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
He is coming in at some point.
He's just out.
Yes,
Paul, sorry.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, let's do that. Okay, moving on, second item, review, discuss, and vote on the previous meeting minutes as distributed.
I'd like to make a motion to pass those minutes. I read them online. You read them by now.
All one. Second?
I'll second that.
Great, JD. All in favor?
Aye.
One abstain.
Okay, great. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is discussion with the senior center director, but I don't see her here. Is she coming tonight?
I failed to remind her the date that she had selected for this, so we can bring it up during her budget presentation. She just wants to give an update essentially on what they're thinking about doing for the 112 University Road.
Yeah. You know, it's a complicated opportunity, but. Okay. Next item, discussion with the highway and building superintendent regarding FY 2027 budget development. Who is yours?
All right, I'm Garrett, the new highway superintendent. We've had everybody, I think, right? All right. I wanted to discuss a new vehicle maintenance slash. The term is horrible, lease program for vehicles to rotate vehicles into the mix on a 5-year plan, a 4-year, 3. I mean, that's how we read it out, but basically the money comes from it's a short-term borrow type thing. It's really, the lease is a terrible word for it, but at the end of the borrow, you own the vehicle, so you don't have to give it back.
So rent to own.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a car payment that we would have on our own vehicle. We buy something,
Right.
it's a car payment for 5 years, in 5 years you own it.
you own.
So it's not like a lease where
Yeah,
you lease a Honda Accord and after 5 years, they take it back.
no.
Okay.
And it's a terrible term and they use it, and I don't know why. I asked the owner of All American Investment Group and he says, tell me about it, 45 years. I tried to explain to people that you own it at the end.
So it's basically just finance.
Yeah.
Finance fleet.
We've done it with the excavator and,
Yep.
what
Or
other
it still
vehicle?
goes in as debt service.
It goes in as debt service, yeah.
Is there any difference between them financing it and this concept?
I have a feeling it's gonna be the same thing.
It's the principal wise problem.
Yeah, it sounds like the same.
Our other ones were through Kansas State Bank or something like that. That was the excavator and the wood chipper.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We had both of those as
So,
kind of lease to own.
Yep.
But it was basically a borrow.
yep, so this one here is a private equity group that owns, they don't sell it out like a bank. So this belongs to the president of this is Ron Klein, he owns the company. So he's the one, he doesn't sell anything out, he's been in business forever. In Hatfield, we used him for as long as I can remember. They borrowed the money from him, and then you have a list of things you pick out, like what are we gonna need next year? This item, and then you can come up with a borrow scenario, like a $350,000 4-year, 3-year, 5-year, 6-year, or 7-year plan. And then you make the payment on the plans. And I have to make copies of this too, if anyone wants to see it.
So is this to replace or update all the vehicles?
All the vehicles
over a period of
except
time?
for ambulances and fire trucks. Cause they're just too much. But if you want to buy a new fire truck, it's $1
Million bucks.
million plus.
But you're all vehicles in the highway department.
And police, if you want to buy a new police cruiser or a new pickup truck for the fire department or that kind of thing.
Yeah, we just did cruisers 2 years ago, I think.
So right now, we have
We're on a rotation.
we have a plan where we say, okay, a dump truck lasts for 15 years and we're gonna buy it. If we have 3 of them, we're gonna buy one every 5 years. So we essentially have the same expenditure every year.
Yep.
We're getting a new truck every 15 years.
That's not working anymore.
Okay, and so, and then it goes to capital planning, and then it goes to town floor, and we vote on.
Right.
Whether we're gonna expend the money to buy this, and that's how we purchase things right now.
Right now.
So
So.
how is this different than that?
So when you go to town meeting and you needed a new voter at $300,000, the town doesn't have to take that huge $300,000 hit all at one time.
Okay.
You can go to town meeting and vote on the vehicle lease program. The number you're gonna vote on is say 111,000. That's just a line item number, vote on it, yes or no, and then that number comes back and say, all right, we have 350,000 or 500,000. And then that money is brought to my attention, we go through, we have to decide on what vehicles we need. Do not have to spend all this money in this lease. If you take 300,000 for 4 years and you only want 250 it is. It's not, you don't have to spend the whole
Question, how did we get from 111?
payments on a 4-year plan on so if you were gonna do a $350,000 borrow, 3 years at 5.82, it's $123,325. A year.
Got it.
So do you vote on it every year, the 100,000, or you vote once for 3 years?
One payment, yep.
So it becomes a budget, it comes to be a line item budget.
It's a line item debt service, so you do vote on it each year,
Each
because
year.
it's now gonna be, we have a debt service. Budget that you have to approve every year, and that would be in line item, we would just repeat it like we did with the previous lease agreements.
What would happen if the town?
That's right.
No,
That's, yeah,
That was my question.
it is essentially you've obligated
Well,
yourself, but.
the previous ones, you only, regular leases, you only had to vote. You vote to do the borrowing once. You vote the line item each year.
Yeah,
So the line item for paying the debt,
yeah,
but you vote to do the borrowing one time.
Theoretically, you could vote to do the borrowing and say, no, we're not gonna pay it this year.
No, I think
Theoretically.
you're obligated,
Yeah,
so there's no
you
vote.
would be penalized
There
if
wouldn't be
you
a
didn't
vote, there'd
pay.
Right,
be a
it's just-
contract.
when we do the budget, we don't do it by. We don't do separate votes on each of the items, you're voting on the budget.
Sorry, that's what I thought they were saying.
So in layman's terms right now, so that people can kind of understand this. So. Instead of having a separate lease for every single piece that we have, which essentially we're financing every single piece.
Yes.
You're gonna say, okay, I have a $100,000 budget this year for lease expenditures for equipment that I need. And a dump truck's gonna cost me 40, and a pickup's gonna cost me this, and a loader's gonna cost me this. As long as you can make it fit inside your budget of 100 that year.
Yep.
You have the discretion to make it work.
Yes.
That's how this works. Is that essentially what it is?
Exactly.
And who has the oversight to see that you're spending the money wisely? Does that go to capital? Does that?
I mean, we
Oversees
did it in the past, it was the director of public works.
Okay,
So he went through with the fire department came to us and said, hey, here's what we need to pick up. What's the matter with your pickup? You know, what makes it that we wanna get, you need to pick up? What is the reasoning behind it?
okay.
Well, it's got, you know, a lot of miles on it, leaks oil or whatever like that. And then you say, all right, then we'll go look at that pickup, and if it needs to be replaced, we'll replace it, and that goes on to the list. And at the end, we just finalize the list, make it fit into the number that you're at,
Yeah.
make it work.
So who has that
It
responsibility?
can be, I got it.
Sorry?
Anybody, you have to pick somebody to do it, to be in charge of it.
The select board, I would say.
Select board?
I would think you would make a presentation to the select board and say, this is how I want to.
Yeah.
Or does that cover finance?
It wouldn't be the select board.
Finance?
I would think it would be capital improvement, yeah, because you're,
Still
you're,
capitalized.
So,
yeah, you're making investments in capital. Items,
But
yeah,
capital doesn't, they're advisory, right?
well,
Yeah,
so is finance.
Okay,
I thought we had, oh,
You do on reserve funds.
okay.
You have some.
So, I reached out to, a former selectman in Hatfield. Diana Zinal, she was on the selectman for a long time, she's a close friend of mine, and I asked her about this. And she said Hatfield was very against this when it was first proposed like 10 or 15 years ago.
the town.
Yes, but since then, it's a godsend. They love it because it's a fixed price every year. It's not, we need $300,000 to buy a dump truck this year, and 500 to buy this, and 50 to buy that. She said it's a uniform payment across the board. They love it. It's allowed them to modernize their fleet, get rid of all of these stuff that's not worth having anymore. She couldn't recommend it high enough.
Does anybody want to look at the?
That was her. that
So
was-
I have two questions. One is, are they on the bid list?
Where you buy it from?
Yeah, but who you're doing this lease program with?
Well,
What's a bit of this?
The state bid list for procurement purposes.
They didn't have to, I'd have to look.
Yeah, so I'm just, otherwise we'd have to go out to bid
yeah, well, we want to shop. the
to
rate.
find,
We wanna shop the rate.
rather than guarantee that this.
I can't guarantee anything, but like that scenario right there
Everything's
is from that. And I know they, come to find out, I looked at it when we were thinking about we need a new loader. So the purchaser CM Wood, here's the quotes and here's that, and they do the same thing. They break these numbers down. If you want to buy that loader on a breakdown 4-year plan there. I said, well, how do you guys do it? Well, we use this guy, Ron Klein from All American Investment. I'm like, oh, okay, so I know Ron too. So they're using the same system as they are. CM Wood is to purchase new equipment from them. If you want to break it down and do that, it's the same person.
Okay. So there was any
Middleman.
leasing company-
Who is the
What's
person?
that?
It sounds like this person, is Ron Klein, is dealing with a bunch of different vendors,
Yep.
is that it?
Yep.
I still wonder what.
It's still
the
wondering
procurement-
about procurement.
Yeah. I'd like to know how Hatfield selected, did they go through a procurement process in order to select Klein
I
to
didn't sure
handle
find
this?
that out.
And then do they have to go through a separate procurement process for everything
do.
that Klein is then identifying where that it's being sourced from?
That's
That's, I'm curious how that works, because there are procurement requirements and restrictions, so.
100%.
Yeah. And then the other thing is. When we purchase vehicles, we obviously have to insure them, but when we own them outright. We don't necessarily have to insure them at a certain level like you would on a leased item.
Cost.
Is it going to increase our insurance costs, our property insurance costs, or our?
interesting point.
Yeah, so that would be the one, cause we're on, they're gonna have different criteria and requirements for replacement if. For
Hatfield
coverage.
should know the answer to that, right? And they've
I
been
would get
it
all
for
of it.
15 years.
They're very happy.
So the town of Hatfield becomes the lessee, so the town of Whately would be?
Yeah.
They'd have to pass a credit review, provide audited financials, yada, 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 yada.
The standard.
How does the vehicle stabilization fund potentially factor into it? They got like 60 grand sitting there. Could that be used
It's-
toward the first year
Oh, of
of
course.
the $100,000 payment?
Well, the vehicle stabilization, so.
Make the payment.
You're doing two different things here. One is under normal, or under normal, you're doing a capital cost, right?
Yep.
As opposed to an operating cost. When we put this into debt service, it becomes more of an operational cost as opposed to a capital cost.
Right?
I don't know if you can redirect stabilization funds
You have to vote
into-
at a town meeting to,
to be used towards operating.
well, right,
You could,
to apply it to the operating budget, specifically the debt.
yeah,
Cause you're basically eliminating the need for vehicle stabilization if you're in a lease program.
No.
Excepting, I assume, police cars.
Yeah,
And insurance, so the police, they said, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we're not gonna take our 60 grand, which
right.
we have a right to
Right.
go pull. And use it toward this, but
This is probably a stupid question, so why can't the police be involved in a procedure like this?
They can.
they probably
They
could.
could, yeah, he said
way,
police and fire can be in the program.
But not fire, like big fire trucks that have
No,
moved
no,
out,
it's-
but yeah, but
So,
pickup trucks that.
Yeah,
So my point is that the police department could give up the stabilization fund if they did this.
And is
Do I have-
the stabilization fund all for the police, or is it for?
use it for a
Any
police truck or
vehicle.
use it for a police car.
So it can be
for any vehicle.
any vehicle, but if they're in the fund, if they're in the lease,
Right.
then you could, at least for the first year, take that hit.
Yeah.
And say you diminish the 100,000 by 60 grand, it'll only be a $50,000.
the police have, I don't know whether the last cruiser they bought through, there's a association in Massachusetts that they buy their vehicles through that has already
Uh,
gone through procurement, embedded and
uh,
everything else,
It's
so
Jim Buckley.
I can't think of the name of it. but
HQ maybe.
No, it's
Something,
Plymouth County Fire, Police.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
But in this case, you probably, because this guy's just financing, he's giving you
Yeah.
cash. So you could probably still use that source of vehicles. He's just your source of the money.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay it out of pocket.
so I think the larger picture here is that I have a fleet of 10 vehicles right now.
Yeah.
I roll vehicles over 5 to 6 years, I get rid of them, get another one because they're so costly to repair. So I know that my plow trucks last, at 6 years, I get rid of them because I gotta put thousands of dollars into fixing them and they're worth a lot on the trading market. So I don't know what the residual value of these machines, but do we just take the residual value at 5 years, get rid of it and get a brand new one and have the warranty and not having all those
You haven't done
repair
that.
expenses?
So on our end of the deal, the highway department, like, if you start putting cost into this, I have quotes, I have a bunch of things just from random stuff that we fixed so far this year. One of them was 28,000. Was a repair bill for the truck we took off on, that was 28,000. I put $7,000 into the loader. You have to have somebody do it because it's all computerized. Everything's computerized now. There's no more, let's just adjust the carburetor type thing. Those days are over. There's safety aspects in this too, as far as like maintenance, brakes and things like that. You have to be an ASE certified mechanic to do brakes on a truck. If you get pulled over and they're out of adjustment there, then they're looking for, where's the ASE numbers and stuff like that. You don't have them. That's a big thing. Not to mention you're sending one of your employees out in a truck that's not fit to the road.
It's unsafe. right?
It's unsafe. I mean, we have no.
Risk management is all over that.
Oh, God, they-
doesn't
yeah,
that, didn't you just support what JD said?
Right.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But I guess the days of buying a truck and having it last 15 years are
Oh,
over.
no, okay, no, that's.
And they're not lasting then, which honestly, the manufacturers doing that on purpose are to buy the trucks.
Right.
I'm convinced of that, because the days of having a pickup last 20 years, they fall apart before that.
Just like a refrigerator.
It's the same thing with buying the computer programs that they had a vote on 2 years ago. Somebody at an auto body shop can't buy that program from Ford. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now you can buy them and I know a friend who I do some work with who owns those computer programs, $90,000 a year. For one program, for one Ford vehicle, it's 90 grand a year.
So-
Yes, he just leases the thing from Ford, they give it to him, they plug it into his computer, and then he can do work.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the equipment that before was a hydraulic pump
You know,
and on-off
we
switch.
could fix that stuff.
But
you
now
don't
you
have
gotta plug it into the computer.
Right, now if you buy a vehicle from these things, the warranty is 5 years. At the end of 5 years, you pay your 5-year number. Then you bring it back with the keys and say, we're gonna get a new one. Here's this vehicle as a trade-in. And then we'll.
So you still capture residual value when you
We'll
take it
factor
back
it
in.
in here. So if you rotate the vehicles, you eliminate the mechanic side of the whole thing, because it's all under warranty. And then,
It's under warranty for the entire time?
yeah,
For the 5 years, or
Yep.
how are you paying you good?
Yeah, you can buy
It's
warranties.
negotiated, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, there's a number.
Negotiate for warranties.
Yep, under warranty.
I think we have a market for a company to make a car that can be fixed like it was in 1960. Why doesn't somebody make that car?
Trying to find someone that can fix an old car is difficult.
Well, they need a PhD in computer science.
Same true with bicycles, they're all electronic.
So can we back up a second? So just say once again, sorry, what the town is actually voting on
A number.
at town meeting? What are they voting to do? And then what are can you summarize that again?
So enter into a vehicle lease program, lease to own, or if we'd like to change it, you can change the term, which would be happy with me, I don't.
I mean, at the time of the vote, it would be specified.
Yep, to enter into agreement for the amount of whatever it is on a payment for this and put it into a line item as a.
And put up your operating budget.
And then there's a number associated with that? Like, which would be the number of dollars?
Yeah,
a
if you
year?
wanted to take a $350,000 loan out for 4 years, there's a number of
95,000.
Just to step back, I want Linda to confirm. What you're voting on are two things.
Right.
First is,
contract.
hold on,
Okay.
the first first is to agree to do the borrowing in order to be part
Right,
in this program, and that's for the total. But then you're gonna have the yearly in your second vote, which is part of the operating budget, which is in the debt service section of the operating
Right, 'cause
budget. So
every
there's
year-
actually two votes, although one of them's packaged into another
Yeah,
larger.
the excavator, every year we had to vote to
Correct.
authorize the spending for that
Yes,
service. Yeah.
yeah,
And how much are you recommending?
I guess I would have to really look at it. I mean, those are the two that I came up with when I talked around on the phone about this, a 350 and a 500. So, and the reason I say this is because I just put in for a grant for a new loader and I haven't heard back. That's 300,000. So I'm hoping that maybe I would have heard about it by the meeting. If that's not in, I would definitely go for a 5 at the beginning.
And how many years?
I would do a 5. If possible,
112,000 a year.
on a 5.
But this is gonna go in perpetuity, basically. 5 years, we're gonna re-up for another one because
Yeah,
we
right.
continually have to buy stuff, but having a fixed cost every
Yes,
year,
that is the goal.
that's the goal. So we don't have these huge spikes.
Yes.
So just, it's an even every year. Like,
I mean, it can't,
we're gonna be spending, well, no, but we're gonna be spending $100,000 a year from now on to put towards new
no, but
equipment.
what I'm saying is it's 100,000 this year, it's 110,000 next year, it's 120,000. There's this thing called inflation.
no,
No,
No, it's
No,
a
it's not.
fixed
No,
price.
it's a fixed amount each year.
Yeah,
But that means we're gonna have less and less
it makes more sense.
You're-
over time.
It's a fixed rate
Things are gonna
loan.
be expensive.
well, you're gonna be,
Above
You don't-
market rate.
if he buys a pickup truck, it's 1 year, how much a pickup truck, I mean, not a pickup truck, a dump truck,
The dump truck's 300,000.
300,000.
Yeah,
So he'll buy that the first year, but we're paying it off over
I
5 years.
guess,
Yeah,
but next year, there's another 5 years out there in the 60 year, now you
Nope.
don't know what that is.
Every 5 years. you
Every
do.
5
So every
years.
5 years, you have to make one of these calls. That's what we're voting on.
right now, we're talking about if we're receptive to the idea of doing this versus doing it the old way. He's bringing it to us and saying,
Right.
I
do you guys
understand
wanna
that.
do this or do you wanna? the
I
other
just
way?"
wanna make sure I understand what it is
Yeah, well,
that
yeah,
we have.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So with the $500,000, we'll call it line of credit.
Yep.
Is the intent to replace
So this is
all the
where you
vehicles
see this?
and bring everything to the new?
With 500, you could do a loader and, maybe something else.
And so if something else junks out
Yep,
in 3 years,
Right,
then you got your $500,000 line of credit on 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
But you have another vehicle.
if you didn't expend the 500 totally, you can enter a new vehicle in there. But then your 5 year that payment goes up.
500 is
That's
fixed,
what I was getting at.
It is,
500 is fixed.
if something enters.
To get to that level.
That's
Right.
You have to go and ask for more money if you had something that was
If you
gonna
went
be.
above and beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah.
So in that case, then you wouldn't wanna touch your vehicle stabilization fund. Because.
How much is in there now?
60 grand.
Yeah, that is not gonna be in there.
So you wouldn't touch it to reduce the year one payment.
I would probably leave it in there, I don't,
Because you're only
That-
getting 500,000 that doesn't, you're not replacing all the equipment
right.
with the 500K.
And I think too, at where we're at now, if something broke during the season. That in budgetary numbers, you could probably fix it, it would hurt, but you could probably fix whatever you had by time enough to get through. Because in the beginning, I would never take the new stuff and replace it. Most of our stuff is old,
So
you
the,
have to pick the best of the best and keep that, and that would have to wait 5 more years.
right, so the advantage is the town doesn't have peaks and valleys.
That's what Hatfield
Cash flow.
is.
Or
But the downside of that, cause you do have, call it 800,000 in free cash. The
Right.
downside is you're losing 6% per year on the interest for this, cause you know you have to have debt service. It's no different than when you're a kid in debt, easiest way to get ahead is to pay down your debt.
Well,
So,
we're also paying out, or if we're doing 112,000 a year on a 500,000.
Yep.
You're essentially paying an extra 100,000. Right? Cause
Over the
it's
5 years.
112,000 per over 5 years is
Yeah.
actually 660,000. or sorry, 500.
560.
560.
60, an extra 60 grand,
Cause it's $12,000 worth of
which is what I'm
interest.
saying, so
basically.
you're good. If you're a town that has no cash flow, then the lease situation might make sense. If you're a town that has a bit of a buffer, which Whately has, one consideration would be, why would we just throw $60,000, not throw, but why would you take 60,000, just shove it out the door when 60K could buy the new pickup truck?
Yeah.
That's just a
You make a good
argument to consider.
And when we get into the budget 101, we go into how we compare to the other towns, and Hatfield doesn't have the room that we have.
Right, or Sunderland, not Sunderland.
Well, you have a lot of
Deerfield.
areas, right?
What? Sunderland also doesn't have.
What is your urgent needs? What's the dollars of your like immediate needs that you gotta have?
Found a dump truck
You need a dump truck.
and our loader is, I put $7,000 into it, just into electronics this year to make it work.
What does a new bucket loader cost?
282, 285. The dump truck is more expensive.
That's 300.
312
Did you say 300,000?
for a dump truck. It's more expensive than the one.
That's what you rented for the year, or is that just the plow truck?
I just the plow.
Yeah.
One of my concerns is how do you sell this to the public without them knowing specifically what you're using that money on
Yeah.
at any one time? That might be a hard, that's a little bit of
That's what
a,
Hatfield had out with. And then
But
once they got into it, they.
You can go
Yeah.
vote for select board meeting for, town meeting for 2 days, voting on the color, why does it have power windows? We never had, it takes the politic kind of thing out of it.
well, I think
And I
it would.
get it, you can be transparent, you can have a list.
Also,
So this is what we came up with a list, this is the number, and this is what we'd like to do.
I think the
Transparent.
way that to really sell it, especially to this group, is to say, under normal conditions, this is what we're expending, this is how much we've spent, and this is what our residual value is. But if we do this, this is how much we're going to spend, and this is what the residual value is, so that you can demonstrate to the finance committee and town meeting that there's actually a betterment by changing into this program.
So essentially. What the town has to understand is life cycles are
Yeah,
a quarter of what they used to be, quarter, half, third
Yeah,
of what they used to be.
and we don't have them.
And equipment costs more,
Yes.
and it's a way to even out the expenditures yearly by the town, taking that into consideration that life cycles are not nearly what they were.
And part of that would be to establish where you're right now in your baseline
So that means we're not,
of your life cycles.
we're not buying one truck every 5 years, we're buying 3 trucks every 5 years.
Correct.
How
That's what
many,
it comes down to.
how many vehicles do you have altogether?
I think it was 12 or 16, there was just didn't I just do a list for the insurance? I just went through the whole, like what we own, what the town actually owns per department and what
I
the,
think it would be helpful
right?
to say, here are my 12 vehicles,
It might have been 12,
here's where I am in my life cycle,
right?
and here's what I'm gonna need, so we can say, oh,
yeah,
in 2030, oh darn, because we're being recorded, there's a real downstroke in terms of cash and necessary cash.
So I have other questions, the disposition of stuff, when we have a capital item, like. It's brand new pickup truck, when it has its end of its life. Can you trade it in for some new one, or do you have to sell it at auction, or what do you do with stuff?
Treatment.
well,
We-
it depends on the,
most of our vehicles don't have enough value to
Yeah.
trade them in.
Because we keep them for so long, but they're
Yeah.
not worth it.
generally,
Right.
we internally have to determine is there another department that needs it so that they could take it instead, so you keep the capital within the town. And then if there isn't somebody else to take it on, then you can go out to auction and sell it off.
But you can't trade it in.
It depends on how the method, I think, because that's what we did with the
We-
police cruiser, didn't we trade it
Traded
in previous?
in,
Okay.
like I said, most of the time, the value on them isn't, the value that they give you for the
Burned it
trade-in
down.
is just, we felt we could
It's like
sell it outright for more than we were getting for a traded value.
What I'm getting at is, I had a 2019 truck, I paid $65,000 for it. I traded in 6 years later, and I got 40 for it on the trade-in.
That's good.
Cause it's worth a lot, had I kept it for 10 years, I would have got nothing.
Well, that's
But it was
what I'm
worth a
saying, that.
Fortune, and I just,
over the years,
I gave
yeah.
it back to Ford and I got a brand new Ford.
But that's based on the acquisition of how you're buying it, and they accept a
Yeah.
trade-in. We have to find out in this program whether
Whether that would
we,
be possible.
if we could do a trade-in.
You're buying
I
a
get it.
$200,000 truck that in 5 years,
We traded everything, I don't, selling things on municipal, you gotta meet the people, then you gotta interview, they gotta come at 6 o'clock on Friday night.
Yeah, regardless of those details. So yes, you can
Yeah.
do a trade-in in the program.
so you could get some residual value out of them at the end of the lease. At the end of the lease, you could say, this $285,000 bucket loaders has a residual value of $150,000 at year 5. Trade it in and get a new one upgraded.
But we own the residual value. at the
We
end of
own
the
it,
lease.
yeah,
So it's
that
not
gets-
really a lease.
That gets put
No,
towards.
That's right, right.
Now we're getting a brand new machine for $132,000.
So if that's true, what you're saying,
So it's kind of-
is
What
that mean we don't need to do what he's doing, or is it
No, what-
in addition to what?
I'm just saying is, if it's possible, instead of keeping things to the very end where it's worth absolutely nothing, because equipment doesn't last nearly as long as it used to. Keep it for 5 years or whatever we think as, or his advice, whatever, what the practical use is value. Get rid of it while it's worth a lot, and
I
it's
hear it.
worth a new one.
I'm happy with
Like
that.
when we buy cars, we trade them in when they're worth a lot and get a new one.
All I'm asking is that process, which hopefully would work, nullify wanting to do this? Is there this instead?
No, I don't think so.
You're saying do what you're saying as part of this process?
Do what
Yes,
he's doing,
correct.
and then get rid of them at year 5 or year 6 or year
And
7.
then the question is, well, can you do, you're legal, you're,
He's saying that
You
that program
figure it
allows
out.
for it, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
Just get rid of it and get another one. I mean,
that sounds,
I mean, every time I buy a truck, well, trucks, aside from inflation, because COVID, they went up. Every time I've done this for the last 25 years, my out of pocket goes down when I buy a new truck because the trade-in is worth so much. And I have so much equity in it.
Okay, so we're good on the
Finance
trade-in.
less.
So Julia, you had a question?
Yes, do I understand if we do this program, that if something goes wrong with the truck, that we do not have to pay for
Warranty,
repairs?
Yeah.
It's all taken care of.
those are, yeah. under the
Now,
warranty
what do you
program.
reckon right now the cost is for repairing these vehicles? So
I-
we'll actually be saving money,
Yeah,
right?
so where we're at right now, I mean, I can show you some quotes that I have just to repair the trucks that we have so far this year in the winter. That, I brought them.
Or just a,
Like, what are labor rates right now?
Just a general number.
A labor rate to work on a truck at Harrison is $175 an hour, at the Allegiance, which is actually an international truck dealer who gets the parts directly at cost, is 200.
So
like
you're
that
talking, you're talking about spending about $60,000 in interest costs, right?
That's two.
So do you reckon over a 5-year period, you'd be spending $60,000 in repairs if we didn't do this program?
On your own?
Yeah.
You have to have somebody to do it.
What?
You have to have somebody to do the.
No, no,
No, but her
no.
question is, would you have
Would you
had
be,
the
would you
repair
be,
cost of 60,000 over a 5-year period?
On a brand new vehicle? I
In
don't.
general, in your
No.
department,
Yeah,
if we don't do the lease
Yeah,
yeah.
and we have to keep repairing these
yeah,
vehicles.
$60,000, yeah, I
Do
have.
you think over 5 years, you would spend $60,000
I think we would spend-
or close to it?
No, I think you'd spend probably 200 or 300,000.
Okay.
I think
well,
you'd be out.
that would be on
Well-
older equipment.
we'd also be,
Yeah.
we'd be buying new equipment anyway, so we're gonna have those costs. The interest costs related to this program versus the interest costs related to a borrowing anyways.
Yeah,
So, cause I don't think we take,
we're not gonna buy a bucket loader in 1 year. We're gonna-
right, so you'd finance it. And that was my other question. Right now, it may be financially feasible to be able to do this and add it to your operating budget. But what happens in those years when, I'm normally not a negative person, but what happens when you're in those years when you're close to your levy limit? And you would normally do something like this by borrowing, like a proposition override, an override rather. Is that something that you can do with this program? Can you do an override with this program?
An override would be above and beyond the
Yeah,
operating.
no, it's not permanent,
request
it's
for-
just, an override is only the term of the lease.
Oh,
So we bought all of our dump trucks and stuff over years ago, we always used to do it as an override. Fire trucks, all that, but it's only for the term of the lease. It's a Proposition 2.5.
Okay.
Is permanent, whereas the override is only during the term of the
Okay.
lease. So, yeah, that would just be, right now, I don't think it's a problem for us, given our
Right.
current financial state,
Here, I
but
have just but the other factor to consider, which isn't dealing directly with the vehicles, but is the concept of redoing the highway bridge. Because that money, call it $1.5 million, the only way you're gonna get there is with a bond, which means debt service. And so I think this is no different than the senior center wanting the same thing. We're moving $50,000, $100,000 all over the place. But I think that needs to be taken into consideration as well, because you could get into the $100,000 issue here with vehicles, get into $100,000 with the senior center, and then suddenly, oops, we need another 50,000 because we gotta have a place to put the new vehicles. Cause the current place is falling down. So I think that also needs to be part of the overall discussion. A good discussion, but important just to understand and have that in the back of our heads. This won't be the first and only bite at that permanent condition apple. Semi.
So I have a question. So you came to town with the way things have always been done. In terms of equipment, do we need the equipment we've always had? Do we need 33,000 GVW trucks? Do we need a 3-yard bucket loader? Do we need?
You need the bucket loader.
We
Yeah,
need the
in
bucket
general.
Do we need that size bucket loader? Is there a less expensive bucket loader that would do the same thing, or is it
Yeah,
a different
the-
model or size or something? Or
You
I don't know.
need a 3-yard.
You need a 3-yard bucket.
Yeah, which is what we have.
That's
And
what you
these
have.
are, I go from different companies that for a 3-yard.
Do we need the $300,000 plow trucks?
No,
We don't.
you need one. You need one, probably, I would say one of the bigger trucks. So the reason I wanted to discuss this two-partly is that for finalizing the highway budget, if we're gonna put in, if this goes, then it's gonna change numbers because I plan to replace this truck on on the capital thing from 312,000 for a new dump truck to drop the size down to under CDL for 150,000, half the money. In order to get a smaller truck with almost that. I mean, you see them, they're pretty much, I can do the same thing. The bigger trucks are good if you're gonna haul more material. Do it all the time? No, I guess if we get into a situation where that is, we can call somebody and hire them for, $300, can you bring in 6 loads of material
So you can call the gravel bank and say, bring us gravel much cheaper than you can haul it yourself,
and pay for the truck and do up, yeah.
Or call Northeast Trees and have them all the way, whatever it is.
whatever.
Yeah,
So we get a non-CDL truck that's a non-CDL operator.
Right.
Wait,
Save money
we say money.
like that.
Yeah,
yeah, anybody can drive it. Regular license. No, that's better.
I don't know, you'd save money on the vehicle, yeah,
Yeah.
not on the driver.
well, you don't tend to pay it for a CDL license. You have to hire a different employee, I guess.
Mhm. Not that some CDL drivers are.
So have you already done this, and maybe I've missed it, but is it possible to lay out 2 scenarios? Scenario 1 would be, here's how Whately buys and upgrades vehicles every year. And over the net currently, and if we stay with that program.
Yep.
We'll make a reasonable, intelligent guess on what it's gonna look like for the next, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Same scenario with this approach with the leasing company. Here's how much we think it would cost over 5 or 6 years, and we can compare those 2 numbers.
Right.
Is that
Absolutely.
That's
something
what I
we
would
could see?
suggest.
Yeah.
But my suggestion is this deals with your capital request, not your budget. Because even the debt service isn't gonna be in the highway budget,
No,
so
but if you go.
your highway budget should be dealt with separately, but yeah, your capital, that's something you probably,
Cause yeah, I'm very fuzzy on, would it basically end up being the same amount of money?
Yeah.
But by the way, we get this nice warranty feature,
yeah,
things like that.
which then possibly has a savings.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah, but we need to see the
We
picture,
need to see the big compared picture.
yeah,
Agreed. But for now, his budget would include repairs to vehicles that we have.
26,000 would be
yeah,
100,000. That's what I mean by adjusting your budget,
Right, that's what you need your, increase your budget from 26 to 100 to,
to maintain the
function, what you
vehicle
have.
fleet we have.
Sure, that would be.
That's what you're coming to as
Good number.
$100,000 for your name, okay? It's fair.
Yikes.
well, I need your budget, but put worst case scenario in.
Right.
And we'll discuss it during the highway department's.
The most
budget discussion.
optimistic request.
Yeah, optimistic on your side.
2 years ago was the school buses, last year was the insurance.
What?
2 years ago was the school buses,
Oh, okay.
last year was the health insurance.
But then next week, as the capital improvement, we'll go through your 4 requests, but you can discuss with capital improvement.
What day is capital improvement next
The
week?
28th.
It's not on the, it's not on the website.
No, because it hasn't been posted yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Intentional, but yeah, I'm curious, now you're mucking it up, right? Because either you're asking for the capital request that you submitted, or you're asking for a different capital request, which is to do this lease to own program. So I guess it's gonna be a discussion, but their capital is gonna need to understand your request of the lease to own method and what that dollar amount is and what that gets us in material.
So relative to the point that George is requesting and you concur, between now and next week, for that capital meeting, preparing this, here's how we run things now, what it looks like
Well,
for the next 5 years versus this
when
scenario.
it comes to capital improvement, they actually don't evaluate based on the cost. Their capital improvements solely, they determine whether or not there is a urgent need. They determine the urgency of the need to do a capital investment, not how are we going to pay for it, or
Right.
how much should it be. They're strictly, that's finances.
Got it.
You determine, okay, capital told us this is an urgent project, how are we going to fund it? Are we going to do it through free cash, borrowing, XYZ?
So should this two-part analysis come back
That
to
comes
us?
when you're gonna be doing the highway department budget review and their capital review during that one presentation.
Fair
that
enough.
They'll do to finance committee.
So will the capital committee have essentially 2 budgets? An A, which is without the lease, and a B.
Well, capital doesn't
Please
do
They don't
budgets,
have a
they're doing
budget.
it, they're
Oh,
doing
the-
a capital recommendation.
The recommendations.
Yeah.
So would there be sort of an A and a B?
We'll have to see what is brought to capital first.
Got it.
And then we'll figure out a best way to present it to the finance committee.
I can also, have a Zoom with Ron Klein, from All American Investment. He said he could set up a Zoom meeting. He said, why don't you talk to some people first and see it like this? And then I can do a Zoom meeting with everybody. If you got it.
It might be worth having him, when you do your
Yeah.
highway budget proposal to finance, have him on the ready in case there's questions about it. But as far as capital is concerned, they don't need to know the dollar, I mean, they need a dollar, but they're not gonna worry about the long-term implications, that's these guys.
It's taking a capital item out of capital and putting it in operating. It's a fixed dollar amount that we can have every year to spend for stuff. We have a fixed basket of dollars to spend on it.
That'll be your
They
finance.
how we're spending those dollars.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Fair enough.
Or you.
Gary, you all set?
I, thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity to bring it forth as a creative idea. Thank you.
Thank you for presenting an alternative.
Yes,
Try to consider all parts.
I just look at those two sheets.
You were.
oh, maybe we want
No, that's different. You can't say.
Was it?
That's what you're.
And you can't.
there's a 350 to 500.
Oh, I gave one to Lynn.
Yeah,
I thought they were the same.
no,
Maybe we can get copies of it.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
okay? I've got,
that was the
that's
500.
okay.
Here's the 350.
That's the one that was a hundred.
That's five.
This one.
112K for 5 years, 5.84% fixed interest,
And for the three,
paid annually in advance, one downstroke.
70 paid.
So July 2nd, 101,000 down. Something, I don't know if that's something to consider or not. I guess that's why you get free cash.
We got a lot of, yeah.
Yeah,
Once the clock turns,
Just look at,
but this one is, yeah, it's in advance, so.
generally they're quarterly pledge. I mean, it depends, actually,
our retirement is a lump sum
yeah.
and we get this.
I know when they did the payment, was the envelope was waiting, as soon as it was on, I put it in and overnighted it. Because one year they missed it, and they're like, well, we won't be back till Monday. No, that's not how this works, you have to, the payment has to be in here now. You have to drop it off. Yeah.
So we don't even miss that payment.
Yeah, he's like, all right, okay, Monday's good.
All right. We're good?
Yeah,
All right, so now that we have Mr. Newland, why don't we go back to the agenda, number 1, to discuss and vote on potential committee reorganization.
so we're looking for a nomination for a chair and a vice chair.
I would not want England to be the chair. She was a former treasurer collector. And she was way below the.
It's administrator and payroll and EMD.
You know the ins and outs,
That's for sure.
Right,
or as it was described to me by a person, she knows every bone is buried.
Yes,
And that kind of experience, I think, would be valuable for the committee to have.
And you got a pay raise.
yeah, I get
Well-
it.
Wait,
Nothing plus nothing is nothing.
There you go. I don't think FinCom gets a stipend.
Nothing
So
is.
there was a motion to nominate Lynn as the new chairperson of our committee.
I did. Did you accept that nomination, Lynn?
I guess.
Arousing.
With jubilation.
Yeah,
Any other nominations for that position?
Wait, was that a, like,
Second.
oh, we
Second.
and you took a vote?
I'm not taking the vote yet.
I just asked.
Oh.
Just asked if there was anybody else
Thank you
interested
for
in.
your work on the road.
You're asking if there's any other nominations?
Correct.
Yeah,
Do we assume that you do not want to continue?
well, he's vice chair,
Oh, you're.
Currently vice chair.
acting
I
chair.
thought
And
you-
you have a job.
Acting chair by
Somebody.
default.
Do we understand you do not wish to continue to be acting chair or chair?
For this year, I would say, let me have one more round. And understanding the ins and outs of municipal government, maybe I can bring something to the table. So hearing no other nominations for that particular position, those in favor of Lynn Sibley as chairperson,
All right.
show of hands, unanimous.
Plans.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
so now I get to take over the meeting?
Yes.
That always instant.
Oh.
Yeah, it's instant.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna entertain nominations for the vice chair.
I nominate Jerry Lemon to continue as vice chair.
I second that.
He's done a fine job.
All those in favor
Good
of
partnership.
having Jerry as the vice chair? Yeah, okay, that was
Alright.
unanimous.
Thank you, look forward to working with you.
Okay, so we are now on item number 5, the FY 2027 budget process. I think I'm gonna be turning this over to Pete.
Congratulations.
Well,
No, why don't you keep that?
All right.
that's gonna be the same.
So yeah, you should have the colored printout. That's the same as the slides that you have in front of you. Those of you who were here last year, you'll recognize some of the material. Essentially, what I'll be going through is giving you an overview on the town's revenue sources as well as our expenses, kind of as a way. Okay, just to give you like a big picture of what the history has been, where we're going, so that we can prepare ourselves for this upcoming 27 budget. All right, so to start with the good stuff, where the money is coming from, the revenue trends. So revenue, there are three main categories of revenue sources. You have the local tax levy, and that's the funds that we raise through taxation of real estate and personal property. It is the largest source of revenue. Then we also have state aid that comes from the Commonwealth. It's primarily chapter 70, chapter 90. You have the school choice and your UGGA, the unrestricted general government aid. Then we have local receipts. That's essentially local income. That's money that the town is collecting through fees, fines, forfeitures, investments, income, motor vehicle excise tax, meals and rooms taxes, and some others, some other categories. So it's really where we're locally gaining or bringing in value. And then otherwise, there's also an all others. So those are funds that come from like transfers between free cash, reserve receipts reserved for appropriations. That's one other category we do spend out of those.
That's not money that we. That's
You
money
didn't-
we're essentially taking money out of savings to put it into
Yeah,
the budget for the year.
Yeah.
We didn't make money somewhere.
you didn't make it. It's just a revenue, it's a use.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a use bucket. Yeah. Good call. So this is to show you for FY 26, the current fiscal year that we're in, what our revenue by source is, what we've calculated. This does not include CPA or enterprise, so not the water enterprise funds. So based on the tax rate that was set, our tax levy that we'll be collecting is $5,429,000 and change. State aid is just under $1 million. Local receipts we've estimated at 606,000, and then all other is almost $900,000. So you can see the tax levy doesn't make 70% of our revenue source for the current fiscal year. This we kind of walked through last time. I will walk through it again, how we get the tax levy and the tax rates, how those are calculated. So we start with what the total expenses are, which in FY 26, based on the budget that was approved, it was $8,409,193.17. There is a non-property total revenue estimate of just under $3 million. So that leaves us with a tax levy. So the amount that we have to appropriate through taxing of just under $5.5 million. So based on that tax levy, we then divide it by what the total assessed value of all property in Whately is. And that total assessed value has come out to $415 million. You then multiply that differential or that difference by 1,000, and that gives you a tax rate of $13.07. So that's why we have the current tax rate right now in the current fiscal year, $13.07 per $1,000 of assessed value.
Two questions.
Yeah.
In step one, at 2.9 million and roughly 3 million of non-property tax revenue. Is that from the combination of state aid, local receipts and all other?
Yes.
But that doesn't add, that adds to. Looks like 2.3, where's the other 600,000? Or is that part of maybe free cash is being counted as part of that? like 2.4.
The 2.4 you're getting from the bottom three numbers on the table.
Yeah, just look at it.
Up above.
The bottom, those bottom three numbers.
916, 616, then you through it, don't add up to 2979.
So it's about a $500,000. Oh. Well, there, we also used free cash in order to
That's
reduce
wondering.
the tax levy. Yes, so
We
there's
used
other
300
monies.
Free cash.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
Okay,
But you, as you were saying, it's not really a revenue.
it's not a revenue, it's a pot of.
It's a
money.
pot of money that's
Yeah.
available.
Yep.
plus free cash. Okay, and then my second question, I remember at the end of step 2 last year, I believe we're about 13, almost $14.
We were,
And we shook out somehow at 1307, which is great, less than. And I remember you saying, or somebody saying, it's a little loose. And it all kind of accrued and it'll all be pretty, and this is much prettier at 1307. This is about 7% less than what we budgeted or voted for at town meeting. But I'm just trying to reconcile what factors would have been at
no,
play.
what you voted for at town meeting was the budget, not the tax. rate.
Okay.
So the tax rate,
Our meetings, so I remember the numbers like 1393 or something.
oh, what we
Yeah.
estimated,
Yes,
that's because we didn't know what the new assessed value of property was.
got it.
The property assessed value is higher than was anticipated.
And you also have the actual receipts.
Yeah, we estimate, and we always estimate our receipts conservatively, just to be cautious.
I remember that.
Yeah,
And those two things together.
So is it typical that a 7% variance or so, what we come up with as the finance committee to what the real number is? Cause it was a little awkward thinking, oh my gosh, we're gonna go over 14 because everybody's trying to keep it under 14. Suddenly we're at 1307. That feels pretty good.
That one was probably a little bit more than we used to,
Okay.
usually about 50. It might fluctuate by about 50 cents.
Okay,
And that's one of the reasons why I've always said, don't look at the tax rate.
Yeah.
right,
Because
right,
it does fluctuate so much.
understood.
And the value of real estate appreciates every year.
Yeah, and then,
And the tax rate goes down.
Yep, that's good for this select board.
I think the assessors have also, we have a whole new
yeah,
group of assessors, so the assessing is a bit done a little bit differently, so I
It's
think
more
that.
aggressive.
they're
Like,
catching
that-
up on properties that
Yeah.
haven't been assessed.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is being done more objectively so that they're ensuring that they are evaluating more thoroughly, I would say.
Nice choice.
But
Got it.
I know where JD was going though, with the assessed value, although the tax rate may go down, if the assessed value goes up.
Correct.
If our
Okay.
operating budget still goes up, your tax bill still does go up, it's just that the rate
Yes,
may be down, but
Got
your value, your property is more.
yep,
Yeah,
totally get it.
I built a warehouse to the previous owner and it's split twice and I built it for.
Do not say that on the phone.
let's stay focused on this. So that's where we.
I'd like to strike that
Oh,
portion of. I was just assessed, reassessed last year's.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So to that discussion about the tax levy and the increases, last year, we did see the tax levy increase 6.13% over the FY 25 budget.
Right.
Or tax levy, sorry, but tax levy, so. Yes, there was an increase, and you can see in the graph, although it is light. It has been consistently going up except in 2021.
And that was everything from school to wages to insurance.
Yes, everything,
It drove the 6.13.
yes.
Mhm.
So Proposition 2.5, I'm sure a lot of you heard a lot of community talking about Prop 2.5 this last year, we did not. What it means though is Prop 2.5 limits the amount of new tax dollars that a municipality can raise from year to year, essentially saying that you cannot raise your taxes more than 2.5%. So you can, first, a community cannot levy more than 2.5. of the total full and fair cash value of all taxable real and personal property. So that's your levy ceiling. And then the levy limit, there's another graph to kind of explain this. The second is the community's levy is also constrained in that it can only increase by a certain amount from year to year, which is your levy limit. This kind of goes into that. So you have your levy ceiling, that's the maximum levy limit that can be. The ceiling equals 2.5% of the community's full and fair cash value. The levy limit is less than the levy ceiling. The levy limit can increase up to that levy limit, but it cannot exceed the levy limit.
Without an override.
Correct. The maximum levy that can be the levy limit is the maximum levy that can be in a given year. It's based on the previous year's limit plus a certain allowable increase. And a levy is what you actually tax. That's the amount that the community raises through property tax. So you have a levy, you have your levy limit, and then you have your levy ceiling.
Okay.
This shows you what the FY 26 levy limit was set at or came in at. Basically, the levy limit for our current fiscal year that we're in is $6,557,000 and change. We don't know yet the levy limit for 27, but essentially what you're doing is you're taking last year's levy limit, any new growth gets added in, and then that new growth plus that levy limit, you multiply it by 2.5%. And then that will work out, you'll get that was what gets added onto your previous levy limit that then will tell you what your FY 27 levy limit is.
Question on item number F, the FY levy ceiling. That's not the sum total of what's above. Obviously, that's coming from a different source. That 10,385,000.
Yeah, I forget where the levy ceiling number comes.
2.5% of the community cash values, somewhere out there.
It's the previous years. It's the previous year's ceiling plus new growth, 2.5%.
Well, but that's
Assessment, your
the property
two
value.
and a half, 2.5% of your full assessment
Full,
for the
yeah.
town.
So this doesn't show us the full market value.
We can
Market values.
back into that. Got it, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and the only reason why it's displayed this way is this is the way that DOR displays the categories. So you can go on the DOR website to see breakdowns, but this is how they break it down. So it's just showing you the process that they follow. But yes, it is obviously confusing because it does not. So certified new growth. You can see that we fluctuated back and forth on our new growth. New growth is the dollars that we're achieving or that we're growing outside of just taxation. We had a spike in FY 25 where we went from in the 40s to 128,000. We're back down to normalized, I would say. In the current FY 26, we did have a certified new growth of 56,000. So that's just showing you. We had an oddity last year where we just grew higher or we grew more growth, which helped us, gave us more money. But yeah,
This is basically cumulative.
does new growth cumulative?
Mhm.
I think
New
new growth
becomes
then
the
goes,
baseline.
Calculated
Yeah.
every year.
you
It
get
doesn't-
recalculated.
But the overall picture grows cumulatively.
Well, the new growth goes into the
Into
levy
the
limit.
levy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep,
so
got
then
it.
your levy limit moves up.
yeah.
Correct.
It's the
And
levy limit.
then your
that
new
goes-
growth
yeah.
becomes zero again.
Correct,
Right,
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would disagree. I think that new growth is gonna diminish because there's less land to build on. There's less available opportunities to build.
It's not just building permits. It's also your motor vehicle is where we get a lot of our new growth. Has been that's what happened
And all
last
the,
year.
and people are doing additions and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Any
Both in 80 years. It's like Pine Plains is full, there's. Out after.
It does take in, those
Well,
people are putting
there-
garages and.
Yeah,
and-
There would have to be new growth every year, I would think. Just,
I just think it's gonna slow down. Now that
they may slow down, but they would slow down because of the devalued real estate or what? What would cause?
They like a lot of available land, when that's.
there's
when we have 40
significant
house lots.
available land. There's land that could be subdivided.
It's not-
It's just the cost of construction right now is too high for somebody to actually do that kind of thing, but you can, there's plenty of land in town that could be subdivided into residential development.
So that 2018 peak is probably Pine Mountain Estates,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, we've been building in there since,
Yep.
13, 12, 13.
But yeah, it's more than just new construction. But we do get into that yeah, we can't bank on new construction either. So when can a municipality assess taxes in excess of a levy limit?
And I misspoke on this before, I meant debt exclusion when I was talking about.
Oh,
override.
yeah. There's two ways, there's the override and there's the debt exclusion. When an override has the levy limit for the year is calculated by including the amount of the override results in a permanent increase in the levy limit of a community, which is part of the levy limit base, increases at a rate of 2.5 each year. An override cannot exceed a community's levy ceiling, but it can increase that levy limit. The other option is the debt exclusion, which is what Lynn was referring to before. A community can assess taxes in excess of its levy limit or levy ceiling for a payment of a certain capital project and for the payment of specified debt service costs. The additional amount of that service is added to the levy limit for the life of the debt only, not in perpetuity. So it only increases it during that limited time of the debt. That additional amount of the payment of the capital project costs is added to the tax levy or levy ceiling only for the year in which the project is being undertaken. Unlike overrides, exclusions do not become part of the base upon which the levy limit is calculated for future years.
So could you just give an example of this? Say, for example, I don't know, they're gonna bond to build the new, highway department building. Would that get,
That's an exclusion.
a magic wand would be waved over the debt exclusion thing?
You would likely do the debt exclusion. because
And then
you would do it
you
over-
could hit the 2.5% at that point, or you might not, or
You could,
you could.
You could.
It could affect your ability
You can
to do
exceed
the
it.
garage.
this,
If
well,
it goes
this-
over, you need an override vote?
no, if the debt exclusion puts you over the 2.5.
Yeah,
So,
Ah,
but
both
it's
of these are
temporary.
supposed to go over. It's just debt exclusion is temporary based on a specific debt term. Whereas an override, you're using that more for an operating, a long term
also debt exclusion literally means it's excluded from the
based on the debt.
normal process of 2.5.
Right.
Local tax levy, so this is the excess tax levy capacity and total value, showing you what the history has been from 2017 to our current fiscal year 2026. The excess levy capacity, you can see, we have been doing pretty well, it's been increasing, and in 2022 and 2025, our excess levy capacity, which is the difference between your levy limit and your levy ceiling, was 1.2 million. This year, we're at 1.1 million. What it really means is we have some room. We have
Quite a bit.
quite a bit of room. You can also see the total value has almost doubled since 2017.
And that's the source of the 2.5% levy ceiling of $10 million.
Right, because it's calculated based off of your valuation. How do we compare to our surrounding communities of Conway, Deerfield, Sunderland, Williamsburg, and Hatfield? Between the year or the fiscal years of 24 to 26. You can see that we have basically maintained our excess levy capacity at that 1.1, 1.2 million. Sorry. Conway has come to essentially is practicing pretty well along with us. The other neighbors, however, have limited capacity, and that's what we were referring to earlier. We happen to be a town that does have a lot of capacity, whereas, let's see, Deerfield currently has 6,500 in levy capacity, where we have 1.1 million. Sunderland is only at 4,700. Williamsburg just under 300,000, and Hatfield 5,000. So we've done well. We continue to do well. We're not building our budgets to our limits. We're not taking on projects to our limits. We have that wiggle room.
Fiscal prudent. But yes, this may be prudent, but it also may be the fact that the other towns with lower excess capacity are making investments
Yes,
that
yes.
will pay off and
They,
increase their excess.
yeah, you can see Deerfield absolutely is doing lots of different capital projects.
You know, the wastewater treatment.
Yeah, and their facility,
Town offices.
their town office and that whole facility campus is being redone.
Probably still paying on their highway garage.
So we could be accused of being stingy.
Oh, yes, yes.
We've been very,
We-
I think not only accused, but convicted, which might be synonymous with prudent, but
Yes,
choose, say what you will. Interesting.
this also on that tax levy discussion is a graph to show you how the tax rate has changed over the years. It has consistently been going down. This is the rate per thousand. The only year that it went up was in 2023. It went from 1371 up to 1420, but we are on a downward trend again.
Keep it going, Lynn.
How do we compare with tax rates to our surrounding communities? I'll just focus on FY26. In FY26, the only community that has a lower tax rate than us is Sunderland at $12.44. Otherwise, everybody else is pretty on par. Williamsburg is a little bit higher at $16.01. Williamsburg has been historically, you can see they are higher. They've been in the $18. This year, they were able to bring it down to $16. What is the average single family tax bill like? It's been growing in Whately. This is just Whately. It has been growing from 2017, where the average bill was $4,600 to the current fiscal year at $5,800. So it is a steady increase essentially.
Do we know what the median is? Do they ever do a median? Which would be interesting, because
The Board of Assessors, I believe, does calculate them.
Do they?
Yeah.
And probably a lot of what's driving that, those some new construction. I think. You
Yes,
with that?
I do have a quick question. I mean,
Yeah.
this is sort of random in a way, but I'm just curious, what is a town like Northampton? I mean, I know it's not like us, so it's not a fair comparison, but what do they pay, do you know?
Oh, what their average?
Yeah, well, I
tax
mean,
bill
what would
is?
these numbers look like for Northampton on average?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I
A lot higher, a lot lower?
honestly couldn't tell you. I don't wanna pull it out because I've never looked, so I don't.
Yeah, Amherst is
They
much,
pay
much
a
higher.
stormwater fee.
I think
What
it's
development
higher.
you have, you pay tax based on how much impermeable surface you have for stormwater runoff.
Wow.
My in-laws have to pay it.
But I also am not sure if Northampton has a split rate, because a split rate could mean that, a split rate tax means that they would reduce the residential tax rate and increase the commercial tax rate. Therefore helping to reduce the resident burden.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Northampton has a split rate or not. I don't believe Amherst does, right? I think
I
they're,
don't think cameras.
they're, single rates.
Right, Northampton's 1393, and they do not have a split rate.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Under the tax rates, these include all the tax. I mean, Deerfield has sewer and fire district taxes and everything. Is this the rate that includes all of that tax?
What slide are you on? Sorry.
I was looking back at the tax rates.
The dollar,
Yeah. the
it's what
dollar-
their set single rate is.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
That
Sunderland, I'm
doesn't
sorry,
include there.
Deerfield
I know.
includes the water sewer tax as part of their overall.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they do. Or they are billed separately.
It's all part of the real estate tax bill.
Okay. I was just curious as to
Yeah.
whether those were.
Amherst is almost $18 per thousand,
well,
17.95.
oh, sorry. Okay. State aid. Oh, sorry, we missed this one. How do we compare our average single family tax bills with our surrounding communities? Essentially, we are in the current fiscal year, our average family residential, single family tax bill is a little bit, it's on the lower side of, for everybody, against everybody's. The next closest is Sunderland.
At West Hampton is $20.
So on state aid, just to keep us moving along, because there's a lot of slides.
They're all resident.
We're not
This is looking at the total state aid, over the course of the last 10 years. It does fluctuate. A lot of the fluctuations are due to either new calculation methods that the state does, such as for chapter 70, or chapter 90. So that's why you do see some of this fluctuation. It also has to do with what the state revenues are like and how they can then redistribute back into municipalities. So that also plays into fluctuations. But in the current fiscal year, we have a significant increase in that state aid, and they're actually going to go into where that's coming from.
Do you think that'll continue into 2027?
I can't say, but let's go into detail of this. So
Chapter 90.
I'm gonna be doing that next.
What's chapter 90?
That's the roadway.
Oh, and then some of the.
So the first part of state aid that we're gonna look at is the unrestricted general government aid. There is an actual request to further increase the UGGA. I don't know if it's going to happen, but there has been requests from the MMA, the Mass Municipal Association, to further increase this. This one has just been a steady increase. It's no significant increase here, but currently of our 900,000, 167,000 is coming from the UGGA. Chapter 70 started to increase significantly in 2024. There was a calculation, a new methodology to calculate chapter 70.
What's chapter 7?
Education. So in 2024, it did jump for us and it is continuing to go up. It's now 350,000 in our current fiscal year.
We don't have data like per capita costs, right? For UGGA. This is a total, but how do we compare with other towns? We don't get into.
I didn't break that down. It could be done, but I certainly didn't break it
Does
down.
current population statistics carry that kind of information? On the government website page?
The way that, I don't know that they calculate it, you could reverse and calculate that manually,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
don't believe that it's in their dashboard showing it.
Okay,
It might be, there are some per capita reports in there, but I can't say
and
specifically.
median stuff is always interesting.
It's probably.
There's a database called the American Community Survey. Comes out every year
That's what.
in the United States. But it's on a very high level once a year, and then every 5 years, it comes out on the granular, so you can figure that out specifically for Whately. That's about to be released, about 2 weeks.
Oh, great, okay. That's what I was thinking.
School choice tuition, there we go. This is where we did have a good increase. So here we see how much we're receiving in school choice receiving. So that's where students are coming into the district or coming into Whately Elementary. And we then collect based on that. And then there's the school choice sending if we have students going out of district. Thankfully, we're on the very low end on the sending. we did have an increase from 205,000 to 312,000 in the receiving, so there was a jump in school choice receiving.
And that's very, on my nephew's kindergarten class, there's 20 kids and 18 of them are Whately residents. So it depends on how many Whately residents there are in the class to take all of those. You might have a class with 5 Whately residents and they can accommodate 10 school choice kids,
Yeah.
but then it also goes by as a district. You can't just max out all the classrooms right now as a profit making center because where are they going to get to Frontier? So they plan all that. Do they, is it a Conway kid coming to Whately that's in the district, or is it a Hatfield kid coming to Whately? And is that kid gonna matriculate to Frontier, or are they gonna go back to the district they came from? So we can't just be
And-
like, oh, we're gonna max out. the
You're gonna have
classrooms. Well, it doesn't work that way.
And that increase is not just, it doesn't just relate to an increase in student count, it also relates to the amount per student that you're able to receive, because that does change.
Yeah.
How much is that? It was 5,000 for school choice last year.
Our school department will be able to give you that information.
So that
detail during
that changes each year.
Yep, but they'll have that detail like they did last year, they'll have that present, their budget,
During the couple of years.
yes.
Just a quick question. I don't mean to get into it or anything, but I think it was at the shared services meeting, there was concern expressed about the number of students that are dropping. We have like way less students than we had in 28. I mean, is that a actual concern for Whately that we may not be able to afford an elementary school
The
anymore?
population is dropping.
Exactly. I mean, there seemed to be some real concern about that at that meeting.
Superintendent.
Is
Yeah.
that real?
No,
Okay.
that member, that individual
I
was a
know you're
member of
talking
a
about.
particular finance committee, not
Yes.
of this town. And that based on a desire that they have, but I wouldn't say specifically that that's the same level of concern, yeah, the reality
Whately
is.
Elementary School is not worried about closing in
Student
the next
elementary.
5 or 10 years.
No, and I think that's a question that you're gonna wanna ask the Darius during the budget presentation. What are the student numbers like at Whately Elementary?
Right.
Where are we? And then we need to look at the breakdown of Whately versus outside, because is it are the Whately residents reducing? Or are they at least staying the same? But that is something that you're gonna wanna get from the department specifically.
2 years ago, he said at the, me and Paul, they went to Frontier for their school committee meeting, that the population was going down of students. They're seeing it going.
Oh, yeah, pretty significantly. If that was the concern.
Yeah, that's what Darius said.
Wait,
Well,
where-
the school system would bring kids in for school choice.
You said the preschool class had 18.
Kindergarten.
Kinder has 18 Whately.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
In my son's class, I think has 18 or 19.
Worse.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same situation that it was 2 years ago, but that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
wait for the school department.
Right.
And also take anything Deerfield says with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You're being recorded.
That's okay, I will happily. Charter school tuition, this shows you where we get reimbursement for charter school versus how much we have to pay for students going to charter school.
Nothing this year.
Yeah, nothing
Okay.
this year for sending, minimal on the reimbursement, but at least we aren't paying out the sending.
Yeah, because that's more
So
expensive.
this is saying we're only sending one student to the charter school, is that what
We're
we're
saying
saying?
that.
Costs a
We're
lot.
not sending any,
We're not sending.
Sending
one
to the
this
other.
We're
year.
receiving a little bit.
Gotcha.
yeah.
That's a big drop though in 23, there must have been
Yeah, significant.
somebody with special needs or something.
Probably.
Could have, yeah. And then actual local receipts. This shows you where we are with our local receipts. Again, this is fines, motor vehicle, any permits. This is the cumulative of our local collections. So you can see, we have been pretty high the last couple years, in 24, almost $1 million, in FY 25. Just under 900,000. We don't have the current fiscal year calculated because we haven't finished it yet, so, it's still a TBD. We're only halfway through the current fiscal year, so that's why that's. And then when we look at where those monies are coming from, so this is to show you last year, because that was the most recent full year of local receipts. A majority of that 63% came from motor vehicle excise tax. The next highest is the other excise.
Which is,
What's that?
yeah, what
I
is?
don't know. Is that the,
Lawnmowers.
oh, there's the farm.
The farm, but that's only
That's-
So
yeah.
marijuana excise tax?
What that is.
Marijuana excise tax?
Oh,
cannabis.
yeah, but we don't, oh,
It,
I don't know, does that fall under excise tax, have receipts for marijuana?
I don't know.
Excise tax.
It could.
It's possible.
Ryan and Warren.
Unfortunately, there's a clumping that the state has that's just called other excise, so it does represent the next largest. Then after that, it is the investment income. Last year, we received almost 72,000 in investment income. The next highest was solid waste fees, and then downwards for the other fees, which were licenses and permits, rentals, fines and forfeitures, miscellaneous penalties and interest.
Solid waste fees to sell trash bags to the transfer center.
Mhm.
The investment we have in investments that are paying.
Yep,
But this is gross amount, not necessarily collected, charged up or collected, like that 510,000 motor vehicle excise tax.
oh, this is collected,
These
isn't
were
it?
collected,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
collected because it has to be, this is what's been certified.
What's been
and
certified.
verified, yeah.
Got it?
All other revenue, so this is anything outside of the revenue sources that I've gone through.
That's really detailed.
You're welcome.
This is the non-revenue revenue.
Yeah, yeah.
That's about where your marijuana money.
There is a significant estimation here. This comes from accounting, treasurer and assessors where based on the calculations, they see an upward trend, which has been happening, but, in the current fiscal year that we're in, almost 900,000 expected to be coming from other revenue.
So an extra $350,000 is a
What do
huge.
we have to do to go back to 2018?
I'm trying to think.
What
what
happened?
I don't
in
know what happened
2018.
then.
Does the town buy lottery tickets?
No, I think I bet you that was the cell tower.
Oh,
They
that makes
sold the
sense.
cell tower.
That makes sense.
Any sense of what the 350,000 would be
This
between this year and last year?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not sure,
It's a great
because
jump.
we already included motor vehicle. We haven't had any large projects that are going online.
Any tax titles or anything like that, I'm not sure where that one would fall in on this.
I don't think so.
What about all the marijuana farms and the shops and all that go into here?
That's what I think came in under that other excise tax.
I think, Brian, I'm looking at past minutes from 2024. When Brian was still here, indicates that that would be in other excise tax. but-
Oh, marijuana is in
Yeah.
other excise tax, so. Oh, so the other excise tax back here on the 112,000, that does include.
Would include that.
Yeah,
Be interesting to find out what's driving that number though.
don't have that detail. This time, sorry.
Yep.
All right, so we just went through all of our revenue, so now there's the other side of the coin, which is what are the expense trends like as we get ready for this budget? So to show you, because we already closed out FY 25, that's the most recent year that we have finished. This breaks down our expenditures by source. The greatest expense in FY 25 was education at about 52%. Next was general government at 11%. Closely after that is public works, also at 11%. And then you have fixed costs at 11%. Those fixed costs are things like insurance, primarily it's insurance.
Like health insurance?
Yeah, and property insurance, all of our, yeah, OPEB. And then the other departments make up smaller fractions of the operating budget or the expenses.
What's an intergovernmental
And
investment?
those are things for like our
COG.
senior center, the EMS,
CCAP.
for COG. Yep,
So would the education include all their insurance? Or is
so we
That-
handle the health insurance.
it- So that would be
insurance.
included in fixed costs?
Yeah.
And what would culture and recreation be?
That's like library, cultural commission, or cultural council, it's primarily library, also
Rec department.
recreation, yeah.
Does the historical society get?
Historical Society is a nonprofit, it's
Right.
not part of government.
Right.
So no.
Yeah, historical commission, which gets a small money.
So, total expenditures without enterprise or CPA over the past 10 years, you can see the expenditures have been increasing since 2019, just a steady increase.
I'm sorry. What is it without enterprise or CPA mean?
This is just general government, it's not showing our enterprise expenses or our CPA expenses,
What is-
because those are
Water.
collected.
Water department. sorry
Yeah,
about that.
they're collected separately, they're not part of the taxing.
Gotcha.
Well, CPA is a fee on your tax, it's not your taxes. So it has been, it has been increasing. Again, it's all in the way you present it. Education expenditures, again, showing you the expenses that we've incurred or paid for over the past 10 years. Education has been increasing. There was a slight reduction in 22, likely. As we were coming out of pandemic, there might have been some budget, but then it did jump back up in 23 and it has been increasing. So there was that one decrease in 22. Oh, actually in 17, in 22 and in 24. And
So it's gone up 15% in the last 2 years.
Special education has a lot to do with that.
You know,
yes,
That's what they last year was mostly on special education and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been continuing.
this next slide shows you our total education expenditures at Whately Elementary. So here, just in the town, versus our total chapter 78 that we received. So Whately Elementary, the expenses there in FY 25 was just over $2 million, where we're receiving in state aid in education of just 338. So the town is making up the remaining 1.7 million
it's what again?
for the elementary school.
We know how we compare with other towns with regard to.
That information is in DOR, but I didn't pull that out. It's not in the packet.
Like how the state determines chapter 78. Nobody seems to know exactly.
Yeah, I don't know the calculation for it.
I think there is a table in there that shows the percent that each town pays towards their minimum contributions. The last I remember, we were at 81%. We paid 81% of the education budget from taxation. But I think there is a table that shows how other towns,
Usually Conway would get more state
yeah,
aid,
kind of, yeah.
even though they have higher median household income.
Well, they were supposed to be, I mean, during that whole thing, I gave absolutely. decided what they're gonna do, the government, the stuff?
For chapter 70.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
aware.
it looks like they did do something,
Yeah, they did.
3 years ago, but-
Yeah,
because they were still basing everything on when chapter 70 first came out in the early two
But
thousands.
they just have a lot of meetings about 6 months ago, so I went to one evening.
then we, yeah,
So
Yeah.
they've been doing that every year since
Oh,
2005, talking about updating the.
yeah, Comer, I think, works on always trying to push for recalculating, right?
And a lot of times they kind of throw money at it based on per pupil costs. So they might say, we're gonna give each area an additional 5,000 per student or something like that. And I think that's what they might have done with that 3 years ago when they upped it. I'm not sure. But they still are talking about revamping the
Yeah.
whole.
the whole system.
So this table shows you the fixed cost expenditures. This again is like primarily the insurance costs. Yeah. So you can see there has been a steady increase in the fixed costs. Currently in the last fiscal year, it was almost 800,000. You know that is fortunately going to increase.
Is that just insurance? Or is
It
it
includes multiple categories but it's primarily insurance, both
Right.
health insurance, property insurance.
The majority being health insurance.
I don't know off the top of my head, but at our next meeting, when you get the budget book, you'll see that how health insurance compares to the others. Cause we do have it grouped. General fund debt service. This shows how much we pay in each fiscal year or how much we have paid in debt service over the past 10 years each year. And right, the past few years, because we were paying off some leases, we were at 48,659, which should be,
There is anything this.
it should be now in the current year, I think it's 1,000, right? I feel like it might be, it's either 0 or 1,000.
I think we have a debt, for interest,
Yeah,
but I don't know that there's any debt payments out there.
yeah. I think we continued to fund it with $1,000 for some reason, yeah,
But this is where the discussions we're having today, potentially.
correct.
Just
That would increase if we did the lease because we'd be doing that debt service.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 2017 is when we bought this building, the 1 million.
This one,
That's, okay, and it was earlier, was it 2015 that we did the town hall?
Yeah,
Okay,
well, this building we had originally borrowed and then we went and bought it.
oh,
That's a
okay.
good deal. Because of the cell phone.
Because of the cell tower.
This next one shows where we've been in our free cash certifications. Free cash is essentially the extra money that you have beyond what you expended, how much you still had in other accounts, such as all of our different special revenue accounts. It is essentially a total of what we have available outside of our operating. In FY 25, you'll remember last year, we reported that we had almost $1 billion in free cash. This current year, we just were certified back in November, before we went to special town meeting at almost almost $750,000 at 747,000. So we still have a good chunk of free cash. Generally, I forget what the math is, what you want. Is it 10% of your operating?
I heard that's a good number.
We're over that. But yeah,
last year we not burned down, but reduced free cash like 250,000.
we brought it way down, yes,
But somehow it popped back up
yes.
750.
Again, because we do estimate our revenues conservatively.
Yep.
So that we don't find ourselves in a pinch point where we didn't make that revenue and then we have to go to town meeting to to raise.
I know it's a nice buffer
This
going
is
into.
where we spent some.
Right,
Would it be safe to say free cash is the same thing as unspent cash? Because I've always had trouble with free cash, then it sounds like an option.
Savings.
Part of it is unspent
Yeah,
budget,
Not the whole thing.
but a lot of it is revenue that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
So you could have increased revenues or
more
unspent.
state aid,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
more taxes.
rebates that we
Yeah.
got.
So it's not
It's
just
not
unspent.
unspent.
Part of it is, but not the whole
Yeah.
thing.
I get it before you spend.
So what are the takeaways? When it comes to expenses, one takeaway is to continue what we've been doing, which is using free cash against our tax levy, so continuing to consider continuing using free cash to reduce the tax levy. Last year, so like you mentioned, we did increase the amount of free cash that we used against the tax levy. Previously, we were using 225,000 of tax levy against it, but because we had such a huge amount, the finance committee decided that you wanted to use 300,000 instead against the tax levy.
And that could be another reason why the tax rate went down more than
Yeah.
what you were anticipating.
I mean, the calculation did take into consideration,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, I did calculate based on 300,000, but still.
Oh,
Again, it is conservative.
Yeah.
There was $100,000 or so spent on oxygen tanks for the fire department. There were quite a few.
Not free cash, yeah.
free cash.
So the big thing that we have to be prepared for is health insurance. It is rising nationally. We did increase the health insurance coverage budget by 18% during the annual town meeting. And then had to come back at special town meeting to increase it another 20% this past November. We anticipate the costs will likely be another 20% increase again in this upcoming fiscal year. However, the trust is looking at ways to offer a change in plans in order to help reduce our costs or the potential costs in. Because right now, all we have is a single HMO and a single PPO. Thankfully, significant majority are using the HMO, which thankfully is less expensive for us. But if we could get a few more Blue Cross plans in there or something else, it has the potential of helping to reduce our costs.
Is there any sort of, to me, this seems like a long-term concern. Like, this thing could, explode 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Is there something we can do now to kind of prepare for that? Or we're doing the best we
For
can?
it,
Well, I mean, like, we were talking about free cash. Well, I mean, could you do something like consciously put things into free cash so that 3 years from now?
you
we'll have
probably
money to
could
pay
create a
insurance?
stabilization fund
Is there
that could
something
be
like that?
pulled out of. To then put against that health insurance costs.
I'm just wondering.
It's possible.
Well, I'm actually just wondering, should we be thinking about it?
I
The
mean,
other things are, the town pays 75% of the
Right.
health insurance.
Oh,
You could change that rate, but
which you don't wanna
a
do.
really tough
It's a big
thing.
decrease.
yeah,
That would
Plus,
be-
it also has to go to the union, so.
Yeah.
You have to
No, I'm
deal with that
hoping
as
that,
well, but,
the hope would be you wouldn't have to do that.
but
I know, I'm
I
just curious.
think they are discussing making plans that have higher deductibles or looking at plans that have higher deductibles and higher co-pays so that the premiums would be less.
Right.
And there are a number of people that I think, young, healthy people who may go for those plans,
Right. Makes total sense.
rather than the ones that cover more.
And this
So-
isn't just Whately, this is.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, there's
Yeah.
47, there were 47, I don't know how many did they lose in the Hampshire County Group Insurance?
oh, well, there were 73 units.
What's a unit?
A unit is
yeah,
an
okay.
entity, so Frontier Regional is an entity
Oh.
within the trust. Each
Oh, I-
town is an entity.
Right.
Solid waste district is an entity. They all have their own agreements in the trust
Oh
as a
my God.
member.
So how many companies are there that service the insurance?
It's just.
We
Blue
just
Cross.
use Blue Cross in the trust,
So-
but the issue is not the trust. GIC is seeing an increase and Maya
Maya.
is seeing an increase,
All
so
right.
it doesn't matter who we use
No, no,
for our
it's-
insurance, we're going to see it. The problem is on a national level. So if you wanna do something, you need to do something nationally.
Well, it's a hot topic there.
So that's
Drug
the
costs are
only
coming
where place that we can get covered. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, what's happening is our insurance companies the insurance companies are taking out medications that they're gonna cover because they're not being controlled and those medication costs are going through the roof. And nobody's holding the companies accountable for it, so
New shot.
now we're losing coverage because, yeah, it's just too expensive for the insurer to cover the profits for the medical.
Correct.
Well,
So yeah, so health insurance is gonna play a big factor in the upcoming budget. Also to JD's point. Future growth, new growth in residential, while it does contribute generally positively, it slows down and it has slowed down. The cost of construction, rising costs is making it very difficult. It's essentially the same amount of cost to do a housing unit here in Western Mass as it is in Eastern Mass, even though the cost of, you would anticipate that it would be less, but it's not. It's the same. The construction costs are just as
I
high.
had a discussion with the Secretary of Housing for Governor Healy at a chamber breakfast series. About high cost of construction. And I asked about any adjustments to our building codes to make things a bit more affordable. Because of what it costs to meet our new net zero mandates. We're adding $100,000 to a house to save $100 a year in energy costs. The only answer that our government has right now for bringing down costs is to subsidize the cost by raising our tax dollars. That's the only answer they have.
By what did you say? By what?
Subsidizing costs. The only way that we can bring down costs according to them is by giving out subsidies to lower income people to create housing. That's the
By
only answer.
raising taxes.
By raising taxes. That's the only answer we have. Not make it, here's a classic example, house you can have plastic pipe anywhere you want. In a commercial building, you have to have copper or cast iron. Which, like, cast iron pipe costs $250 and a plastic pipe costs $25. But we are forced to use a cast iron pipe for $250 in a commercial building. Because of our
plumbers,
That's why. Could we have some reform on the state side to say, hey, could do this and bring down the cost? They don't want to talk about that. Yeah. I tried to pick a non-political area. But that's,
There's
clearly what it is.
always a trap there.
But that's what it is, so.
And then on top of the residential growth or slowing down of residential growth, we do have the potential growth in commercial, like exit 35, if we unfortunately have a property owner that's not utilizing our property, which is unfortunate, but hopefully with some regulation change that recently happened, that might happen. We also, although it's not noted on here, Deerfield is doing a feasibility study to do the roadway connection in the industrial district from Deerfield into Whately. And with that, expanding the sewer district from Deerfield into the industrial district. If that happens, it could help for redevelopment or utilizing some of the industrial properties here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
How did that come about?
How much do we?
They're over.
They finally agreed that they wanted, they voted, Deerfield, the EDIC voted yes, that they wanted to connect.
It's been a battle.
Because they overbuilt,
They overbuilt.
they overbuilt the plan.
They need money
They
to.
need ratepayers.
And what about the castaways? It's a revenue source. Whatever happened with that? Going great. great gun.
Yeah, they're the solution to all of our.
Is there someone in Whately, part of the government, whatever, who is sort of, you know, marketing Whately as a place to bring a company? Like, for example, the new pickleball place, you know, it's like,
In Hatfield.
and that, oh no,
We
quarter
don't
mile
have,
down the road, it could have been in Whately, and we get to that. Is there somebody who's promoting any of that?
No.
Is it worthless to do it, or is it?
it's not worthless to do it, it's just you guys, you would have to pay a staff member specifically to do that. We don't have a ton of commercial properties in the town, so soliciting and trying to find that, it's not like Hatfield did anything to bring it in, it's just happens to be likely that the property owner saw an opportunity there.
Yeah.
I doubt Hatfield was searching for somebody.
Well, that's fair enough.
And marketing.
It's also the right by the 91 exit too. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a convenient spot.
Yes,
I'll give you
yes,
that.
but no, we don't, the short answer is no, we don't have somebody. Community development administrator essentially could grow into that depending on, what possibly, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into marketing your community.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
But is it silly to think that if we could promote Whately as a place to bring businesses, then that would bring down?
We'll need the planning board to zone more commercial property.
Ah, so good.
And then, if Whately isn't horribly attractive for commercial, well, I'm just saying that because we don't have a sewer
The
system,
sewer system's the
is
big
a huge
issue.
thing.
Yeah,
But
So
if
you
you
can
can
only-
hook up
Lack
to
of-
Deerfield,
If you can hook up to Deerfield. then
Well,
maybe.
that's gonna benefit our industrial district and then that which is right here, sorry,
So that's-
it's just this general area.
Serious short.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you'd have to have businesses that wouldn't utilize a lot of
Right,
waste,
right.
Yeah,
so
Which is.
trying to think of a good way to put it.
Can't imagine this.
Well, a data center, which uses a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of water, would be located next to the river and it would be clean water in and out.
if they can source directly. But yeah,
Yeah.
we have farmland that we like to protect along.
Right. Also, you
Oh,
have,
well, there's an opportunity to have a river walk along.
Yeah.
As a draw.
So, quick look, just giving you, an outline of where we are in our stabilization and free cash accounts. In the general stabilization fund, there's just over 400,000, capital has just under 300,000, vehicle, just under 60,000, town buildings, 100,000, and then free cash I've mentioned, 750,000.
What do we pull out of general and capital to in our budget every year? We put money in there.
Oh, we put money into it, yeah.
What do we pull, what do we spend it on? No,
You don't unless you determine that a capital project should utilize
temporary.
capital, stabilization money or free cash or mix or borrowing. You as the finance committee make that determination with your recommended, mode of funding those projects.
Okay. Oh, I just had one other thing, is we have our potential meeting schedule coming up, I saw that in there. It's ready, what's on our next item?
It will be, yeah,
Okay.
Thank
maybe we'll let the chair
Okay.
run the meeting.
Okay, so we're on,
Yeah,
on
sorry.
that presentation, right? And, review and discuss objectives. I mean,
I don't know how the finance committee determines objectives as they go into, how have you done it in the past, Paul?
I think we wait until we're further into the budget year to determine whether, how much you're gonna put in the free cash to reduce the tax levy, those type of things. Is that what this is
Usually the very-
discussing?
Well, I mean,
Or-
objectives, sometimes finance committee could say, we're only interested in seeing level or a 2%
Oh, okay.
reduction. Those are some objectives,
Yeah.
or
like that.
we're gonna have an objective this year that we want to increase the free cash over 1 million. How do we get there? You know, what are your long-term financial goals? And then you set the objectives to that.
I don't recall us
Anybody
having
have any?
long-term financial.
I think we've always said, try to
Other than
keep things
staying
at
the
what,
course.
2.5%, but. I think that's about the only.
Yeah, as I recall, last year, we just sort of walked through each department's budget.
Right.
There weren't a lot of questions and there were certainly no cuts. And we just went on and on and on, and then at the end, we're like, here's how it all adds up. How do we pay for it and try to keep the tax rate under 14?
Right.
But I like the idea of having an objective, probably not the right night for it. but-
Yeah. It might be where we need to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I put it on just because, yeah, but we don't even have the estimated budget yet because I'm still waiting on some significant budgets to come in. So, but you'll get a glimpse on next meeting when you get your budget books.
Okay, so the next topic is to review the schedule. And. maybe
So that
you have-
is in your packet.
Yeah, I'm a member of the planning board, so February 4th, Grant, our chairman, is going to be out of the country, and he asked if I could just answer any general questions about that. Is that allowed?
Yep. But I can also handle it. Your planning board budget is minimal at best.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
big contentious about
like
it.
$500 or
Is
something.
it better if you move it then?
It's easier if I handle it.
Okay, he asked me if I could do it, like, I'll ask.
Yeah, no, it'll be easier if I just handle the
Okay,
questions.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, were there any other questions on the budget?
All departments on this have been notified and I've made adjustments based on their needs, so this is essentially what works for everybody.
I will not be present for the March 4th meeting. But if I need to.
Which is primarily a lot of my stuff.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be missing the good stuff.
Yeah, I won't be here on March 18th.
March 18th, I won't be here on the 18th either. Jess, by the way, Jess is also now the assistant town administrator, but Jess will be standing in for me at that.
Congratulations. I'm surprised we're getting the elementary school, schools here so early in the process.
What time are these?
These meetings are all at 5 p.m.
And how long do we expect them to last?
What was that?
5 to 7?
Essentially about 2 hours, yeah.
About 2 hours.
Do you have any dates for the Frontier School, their meetings?
Yeah, they're on February 25th.
No,
Oh,
when they,
oh,
Discuss their
I
budget.
don't know their
Okay.
schedules. They're gonna.
I'll keep an eye out for them. Okay, that's agenda. Liaison updates?
I'm on the personnel committee meeting, or personnel committee is the liaison, and we're meeting on Thursday. Nothing that I'm aware of in terms of,
We'll continue preparing for COLA and other salary recommendations, but yeah, nothing discussed yet.
Sure.
Firmly.
I'm on exit 35 and there's nothing to report, and I'm on capital program. I didn't do that yet.
Okay,
We have our first meeting on the 28th.
okay.
I went to the shared services meeting, which is sort of a general discussion. We're having another one in February, I think. So nothing earth shattering has happened.
I am on the, also the housing committee, not as a liaison, but as a member. And right now there's a focus on potentially developing the DeMayo property on 5 and 10. So between the Castaway and the Whately Diner. But putting in potentially residential real estate. The town did a study a couple years ago, or commissioned a study a couple years ago that I've looked at. The basic answer we need to get at the moment is how much septic load can that handle? So there'll be hopefully a request coming of the capital committee at some point to fund a landscape group to be able to come in and do test pits, which weren't done apparently for the original septic.
That was put in 90.
Many years ago.
I think.
But until the goal here would be If it was a residential side, you potentially could put in maybe 30 units.
Have you talked to conservation?
Yep.
Okay,
Talk to conservation, talk to Board of Health, talk to the Greenfield Housing Authority, and talk to FERC.
because the,
And talk with
conservation had concerns at the time.
relative to the wetlands and the setback. The question is, how do you handle it if you have a traditional septic system? Need a big, long field, but there's newer technology that allows a small footprint with curved drainage. That could easily be adaptable to the site, would allow for additional landscaping, putting pagodas on the green space, could make it really nice. We need to get to about 30 units for a local developer to really be interested in building. But again, it depends on the septic. So right now I'm on hunt, for about probably $5,000 to $7,000 to have the testing done. I've been told you need to wait until town meeting and put in a capital request, and all that stuff. But I don't know, I don't know if that's true or not.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can't do that. As a finance committee member, you know you can't spend money unless you get approved.
I understand, I'm trying to bring an update to the committee.
Yeah.
But I have lots of people in different parts of this organization as well as the communities around us interested in the concept. But until we do the test pits to determine how much housing can you put, or can it be commercial, what can it be? We just need to figure it out because the site is not producing revenue for the town. And so it seems to me spending $5,000 to figure out, can it produce revenue? If it can't, then game over. But if it can, then the question is what kind of real estate? Who owns it?
Down.
The town took it when the restaurant burned down and didn't pay their taxes. Okay. The town took it, so the town has the advantage of owning a 4-acre site, which to a developer could be very attractive in terms of negotiation. But we'll just have to wait and see. But if you could put housing in there, that's a definite revenue source. As potentially could be commercial or something.
And
We're
it's-
working our way through.
There's not a wetland issue there.
There's wetland, probably half the site, but there's still probably about 3 buildable acres. And so
Is
there's
that,
potential.
isn't there a limit? I remember Tom Litwin a few years ago pushed this whole thing to limit lot size to 3 acres because of the protecting the water aquifer.
I think that might be.
Right, but this is an underground discharge approved through the state DEP that doesn't impact the aquifers.
It doesn't.
No,
But also, I don't think this would be
In
a
this-
subdivided lot. It would be multi-unit, not.
That's what I was
a
imagining.
lot size.
It wouldn't be multiple houses, there'd be one. Would have
The-
5 condos in it or something.
potentially a building, think of with elevators.
Yeah.
2 or 3
yeah.
stories, maybe it's garage, parking underneath and buildings above.
Yeah.
Keep it in character with Whately in terms of the skin. Maybe make it look like, a farmhouse type thing, like they have over
It looked like
Cumberland.
Quebec.
Make it
Yeah.
look like That's a great idea.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I really like that. Thank you. May I use that?
George, our new architect.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
Sounds good. Are there any other items to discuss? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh my God.